Here we are at the 9/11 Memorial here in San Antonio. It was built by a bunch of architects here in San Antonio, right next to a Christian church. Super pro-Israeli, Israeli flags everywhere. And just a whole bunch of occulted architecture. We got the obelisk. We got the threat level flag that we'll cover in a second. And just more occultic architecture up there. So
we got a flame burning during the day at the top of the obelisk as well, which we'll get into later, but something interesting to note.
I'm just unable to feel or God fears from people you may have met on this planet or not here. Life taunts of violence, death flaunts of silence. If your soul's priceless, no one wants to buy it. If you relapse, you quietly fall and no one to catch you. So the monkey on my back is still flinging shit at you. Wipe it off, let's move on. We have so much to do, so much to see. I have so much pain for you when your life is sucking. You got vices that are something to hold on to as you fall into nothing. It's like you're drowning but too good to take a hand in pities while you cling to your addiction like a kid in swimmy. Silly habit, drugs are for kids, not adults. It is not free to live unless it's under a bridge. New York City could gauge its health with colors. They said I was a danger to myself and others. I have CC brothers, forgive my enemies. WM, I live on like the Kennedys. Every amenity, you loving this. Un-American, not to be gluttonous. Should have a big chain to accentuate the ugliness. My soul is stuck in this, unaware of its appeal of purpose. A manufactured for you to steal a purchase. You leave behind what you get for money or well. What's the weather like, kids?
It's always sunny in hell.
I have one thing left to say. I'd like to share it with you. If you don't care, is it too bad for me or too bad for you? You know it's complicated. You suffered, you tried to make it. Now maggots just wanna be compensated and live through Camus. Live through Camus.
Alright, so right here in front of the obelisk, and anybody with at least a little beginner's knowledge of Masonic architecture knows that they use things like the obelisk and buildings like the Capitol represent private parts of males and females. So right here we have the obelisk, a male private part, and then if we look at the farther wall, I mean, I don't want to say what that looks like, but it's kind of nasty. And I'm not trying to say anything, I'm just pointing out what we have here, and I'm not claiming to be an expert on architecture, but I know a little bit about Masonic architecture, and I know there's usually an ulterior motive or something else they mean by it. So just by looking at this, I mean, we get an idea of what they mean here, and I think it's very disrespectful to the people lost in 9/11, and in no way does this honor their memory.
ridiculous to think that they would have a threat level flag here at a 9/11 memorial, just promoting the whole idea that, you know, we're under attack from the terrorists. It's also pretty ridiculous because it's on the side of the highway. I think we would expect or count on our elected officials to come on the radio or television if the threat level went up, not put up some flag. Here, we've got a little fountain. If you notice, it's surrounded by 12 blocks. I'm pretty sure on this. You might want to check it out yourself on the internet or research it. I believe when witches do their seances or cast out different spells or whatnot, they get in a circle of 12 and they're surrounded by one individual, probably the ringleader or the person they're trying to cast a curse on. So we've got some symbology, most definitely some Masonic symbology. Here we are at the memorial site for September 11th, San Antonio, Texas. We're here at the main plaque dedicated to this memorial. There's a whole bunch of dedication, why they put it up here. A couple of the Masonic statements that we found in this statement. Here, when referring to the obelisk, the steel pillar features an eternal flame. We mentioned that earlier. That has a flame inside the obelisk. This flame will burn in memory of those that perished on 9/11. So that's why they continue to burn it, right? In memory of the victims. But again, we know that that is a Masonic, satanic symbol, the obelisk. But then they refer to God, right? To God as the light of the world, which He is, but also the eternal flame, making the correspondence between God and the obelisk, right? Strictly Masonic, strictly anti-Christian, anti-God, whichever you want to look at it, anti-biblical. And finally, of course, we got this verse over here in Joshua, right? And this tells us who it is that they dedicated this to. Because we know who orchestrated 9/11, and we know it wasn't the Lord, it wasn't God. It was Lucifer and his agents here on planet Earth. And it says, He did this so that all peoples of the earth might know that the hand of the Lord is powerful, and that you might always fear the Lord your God. So they're implying that the Lord was directly responsible for the attacks of September 11th, that He's the one that orchestrated it so that we may fear Him.
And that's keeping this in mind. First of all, you might be saying, oh, that's kind of nuts, but look here, leading us back to our Creator, the eternal flame. So with that in mind, you might understand this better, because like it's saying, leading back to our Creator, the eternal flame. It's not saying God, the Father, or Jesus Christ, it's saying the eternal flame, like he just pointed out. So keeping that in mind and reading on, we begin with God, who is the light of the world, the eternal flame. The ascending wall leading us back to our Creator, the eternal flame.
It's pretty crazy. And finally, the one paragraph in here they did get right, and the one statement they did get right says here, the best way to prevent the repeat of a tragedy is through information, awareness, and education. And that's what we're asking you to do. We're asking you to become educated, aware of what's really going on, and who's really responsible for these atrocities against humanity.